Hey, welcome into another episode of Halos in the Infield, the podcast you know and love. It's shooting up the charts. Sound like Casey Kasem. But we're here talking about the Texas series as it's currently being played as we speak after the game yesterday. And then also the series prior to that. We'll catch you up on all the news and notes. But first, I am Todd Fox and the other host of the show.
Hey, my name is Fernando, the Lone Star Halo.
Oh, yeah, the Lone Star Halo in the house.
Yeah, we were supposed to record on Sunday, but it's my fault that we didn't.
No, dude, a couple of those instances have come up where I haven't been able to either, so don't even worry about it, man. Things happen, man. You had a rough Sunday, so.
Yeah, right. I was for all of our listeners, I was stuck in the Detroit airport for 13 hours.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Just
beautiful city.
Yeah, sure. Stuck in Detroit for 13 hours outside of the airport's bad, but it's got to be even worse inside. So there.
Well, I thought about going to Comerica Park because I hadn't been to that park yet, but it was 18 miles away from the airport, and a lift was going to be $43 going to the game, which you knew was going to be what? Probably double afterward because you know how they charge that charge, after events. Yeah. So realistically, it probably would have been like $60 on the way back. So I was like, I don't know, man. Plus tickets would have been like, what, 120, 150 total with food and everything. I was like, is it worth it?
Well, I think with food, you would have been paying close to $2.
Maybe. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I probably should have, but hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, next time.
Yeah, next time I'm stuck there for 13 hours.
There you go. You'll be planned and rested and ready to go. Yeah. So let's get started, man. What do you want to kick it off with first here? We need news and notes first, or you want to talk about the series that was prior?
Well, I'm kind of thirsty, but I'm not in Anaheim. But if I was, where would be a good place to get a drink? Do you know?
I think this place called Noble L works, and they tend to, when you mention Halos in the Infield, they tend to take $1 off your drinks. And then if you're there during a game, they have 2 for $9 specials if you mention Halos in the Infield. And it's buy one, get 1 pint free after the 7th inning.
Wait. So after the 7th inning, I can take a hot date over to Noble and she won't think I'm cheap?
No, you could say, hey, I'm going to buy 2 rounds. And you actually do buy 2 rounds for the price of 2 or 4. Wow. You get 4 rounds. I'm sorry. My math is bad.
It's okay. It's all right. That's why you're a podcaster.
Yes. I don't qualify for anything else. Thank you.
That's fair. That's fair. Oh, okay. Now, let's just say that, I want to go to the game, but I don't have tickets. Should I use StubHub?
No. Roger, you mind telling us? 714 tickets, 714 tickets, 714 tickets gets you 10% off only by saying Halos in the Infield. No hidden fees, no taxes. The price you see is a price you get, and you get an additional 10% off plus 5% towards your next purchase, and enter in to win for a free jersey courtesy of Halos in the Infield and 714 tickets.
And can we use that code only one time, or can it be used as much as a Buena Park Gigolo?
Buena Park Gigolo over and over and over.
The John Stamos Gigolo.
There you go.
All right. Well, yeah, yard work's out of the way. Give us a subscription if you're on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how Todd's hair is looking today in the comment section down below. Give us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform, and hell, while you're at it, when you call your mom, I tell her to listen to the show as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, Rally Chris loves the mamas.
Sure does. But yeah, we got another show here for you. The Angels are playing pretty good right now, right?
Well, maybe not as we speak, but overall, yeah. I mean, what they've won, is it 8 out of the last 9 or something?
8 out of 11 or something like that, or they're winning more often than not. They're trying to go over 6 games over 500 right now. They got themselves right back in the thick of things as far as within striking distance of the division. So they're starting to mold a little bit better. They're starting to play a little bit better. And who knows? If they can get back in this division race, we could be talking about some really, really important games. And actually, because a lot of times by now the fans are starting to tune out over the last 4 or 5 years. Because, as we approach the All-Star game, it's like we start just worrying about who's going to be in the All-Star game. instead of worrying where this team's at, because usually they're fading, or usually they're out of it, or they're just playing very, very mediocre baseball. But they're starting to improve on all levels, especially that bullpen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for the first time in a long time, we might actually have a pitcher in the All-Star game. Who was our last pitcher in the All-Star game?
Starting pitcher, or are you talking reliever?
Either one. I know Hector Santiago in 2015, but has there been someone more recent than that for a pitcher? I mean, I'm not counting Ohtani. I'm not counting Ohtani. For anyone who's like, oh, Ohtani, yeah, obviously. But
outside, did Iglesias make it while he was here to the All-Star break?
He did not.
Okay, well then I don't know then, because there was only a select few pitchers before that I knew that made it for the Angels, but no.
Okay, and I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Okay.
You've been lately you've been compared to a Trout hater. You're not a Trout hater. I'm going to throw that out there. And let's be clear. He's going to make the All-Star game because he's Trout. Mm-hmm. Does he deserve to make the All-Star game where we currently are? 243 at-bats. He's batting .255, which is only slightly above league average. 14 home runs, 37 RBIs. Oh, but hey, he got a stolen base yesterday.
Yeah, those to me are very mediocre numbers, especially for a guy like that has a resume of Mike Trout. And we know he could be a hell of a lot better had he not been in such a slump and catching up to these fastballs. We're talking a guy who probably is around, Ohtani numbers are probably better. The fact he only has 14, we're used to him having about 20, 22 at the break. And he's only got 14. That's really down. And RBIs maybe because over the last couple of years he's had nobody on. So like he hasn't finished even a full year with 100 RBIs. He's usually getting like 40 home runs, 89 RBIs. But he should have a lot more RBIs this year with the team ahead of him, the guys who've been on base ahead of him. I mean, he's batting literally I think it's 190 or 189 with runners.
I have the numbers over with runners in scoring positions. Yeah. Sorry, I have the numbers for his last couple games.
Okay.
So last 30 games, he's batting .213 with 38 strikeouts. In his last 15 games, 151 with 20 strikeouts. And the last 7 games, 174 with 9 strikeouts. Now, everyone's going to be like, well, he's getting on base. Yeah, you're right. In his last 30, he's on base percentage of .338. Last 15, on base percentage of .313. And his last 7, on base percentage of .355. So is the man still getting on base? Yes. But he's not getting hits. And not even that, he's struggling to make contact, clearly with the amount of strikeouts he has.
Yeah, he's continually late on the fastball. We've talked about this, popping into right field, far right field. And then he's also late on the inside fastballs. And it's just crazy to see if, a hitter of his caliber being challenged so much. They're not even nibbling. They're just like, here it is, hit it. And he can't hit it.
Yeah, he's been struggling for sure. Now, I'm very aware that Trout has been streaky in the past, but I don't know if we've ever had a streak where it's going 30 games.
No.
So, am I worried? Maybe not yet. Once we start hitting the end of the year and we're talking about him batting .255, then I'll be worried. Until then, I will continue to give Trout the benefit of the doubt because he has earned that. I can't imagine him being down forever. I understand Father Time's undefeated, but he is only 31 years old?
Yeah, he's 31 years old. He won't be 32 to the end of the season.
Till August 8th, I believe that's his birthday, there. August 7th, August 8th.
Yeah. I just feel right now that if he can get hot, which he can go on a tear where he does put up similar numbers to what he has for a season in 1 month. I think that would propel the Angels to higher levels that they haven't been, and because we're seeing Shohei kind of get things together, and he's hitting really hot now. All of a sudden, Drury's come around, Ward's starting to hit. Just right now, you don't know what you're going to get with Rendon. He's a hit and miss, literally. But if Trout can get anywhere kind of consistent, I'm telling you, this lineup's going to take off.
Absolutely. And I guess the good news here is that Trout hasn't been on his game so far this season, and that this team is still in a decent position. Mm-hmm. So that gives me hope that maybe near the end of the year, he's going to heat up when the rest of the team regresses. Baseball's a sport of peak and valleys, and Trout typically has made a career out of struggling at the very end of a season, right?
Mm-hmm.
He tends to get cold when the team, kind of needed it. Like in 2015, I remember in the month of September, he was struggling.
Yeah.
So, hopefully that's some good news. Now, speaking of somebody who's struggling, I want your opinion on Jared Walsh. Now, he is coming off of injury. He had surgery in the offseason. He had his insomnia. He's had his off the field issues with things like that. Are you worried yet about Jared Walsh, or do you mind giving him a little bit of a leash right now just because you know what he's dealing with?
I honestly would have liked to see more rehab stints for him, obviously, till he felt like he was on a roll. Because 6 for 52, I am worried. A guy like him, again, if this was coming off 2021, I'd say, oh, no, I'll give him more of a leash. But he's coming off of 2022 where he was just as miserable. And you could blame that on the injury. You could blame that on everything else that was, contributing to it. But I think right now his swings are just so flat and he keeps getting struck out by the same pitches, which is high and inside, high and outside, or just low in the dirt. It seems like him and Renfroe are just, if it's in the strike zone, they don't want to swing, and that's what they're doing. They're just swinging at stuff that's out of the strike zone all over the place. And these pitchers have way better stuff when their pitches are out of the zone. They have more movement. And yeah, I mean, they're not able to catch up to any of those pitches. And especially Walsh right now, he can't hit the broadside of a barn. He looks miserable out there.
Yeah, him and Trout both seem to really be struggling to hit a fastball right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in, maybe 2-3 weeks if we're still talking about Jared Walsh struggling. Now, I know they just signed Daniel Murphy to a minor league contract, and, it's been since 2020 since he's played, but he was a good hitter throughout his career.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was a good depth move. They put him in AAA for now. He's a first baseman, so maybe we'll see what comes out of that. But let's just say nothing happens with that because the Angels aren't very good at resurrecting careers, let's be honest. So with that being said, could you see an avenue where the Angels are potentially exploring a trade deadline move for a serviceable first baseman? I'm not saying we're going to go out there and get, a prime Eric Hosmer, but I'm saying, can you see the Angels maybe going for, an average guy, maybe a CJ Cron-esque type of guy?
Absolutely. I could see them doing that because, I mean, the way they look at it, Urshela's supposed to be the backup towards, Rendon, and Rendon's always in or out. You could use Urshela at first base, but the glove of freaking Walsh is still so valuable. So you would have to get a first baseman with a really good glove and that could play decent, hit for average. But I do think the Angels are going to, it's crept in their head. They weren't thinking that, that they would have to go out and do something like that. They thought they had a pretty good rotation of infielders to take care of everyone's spots. In case Walsh needed a day, you got Urshela. In case Rendon needed a day, you got Urshela. And then you also can sprinkle in the outfield or in the infield spots some Renifo to give some time to either Neto or a Drury. So the plan is there. It's just there hasn't been the execution hitting wise, especially with Walsh. So yeah, I can easily see them going out and taking a literal swing at another player because maybe Walsh isn't 100% and you might have to shut him down.
Yeah, I just looked. CJ Cron has one more year left on his contract. He's currently injured, but he's making like $7.2 million. Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of guy who I think the Angels go out there and get a rental. I don't think they're going to go out and get a long-term first baseman. I still think they have a lot of hope for Jared Walsh.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing the Angels need right now is another long-term contract. It's the last thing they need. Because if we don't make the playoffs and Shohei Ohtani leaves, no, I'm not manifesting that. I'm knocking on wood as we speak.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is if Ohtani leaves and we don't make the playoffs, we need to take a very, very long, hard look at a rebuild. So with that being said, you can't be taking on a bunch of potential dead money contracts. So, you need more of these rental guys, the Urschelas, the Renfroes of the world. And that's another guy who's struggling.
Yeah, that's what I was bringing up. Renfroe's been terrible, but just a quick update on the game since we're broadcasting during the game and watching it. The Angels just pulled within one. Rendon singled and scored Drury, but then with a one on, the Hunter Renfroe just gave the Angels a lead, 2-run homer.
Oh, well, there you go. Speak of the devil.
Yeah, he just came through.
So obviously these numbers are pre-home run, but in 242 at bats, he's batting 240 this year with 11 home runs. Now it's 12, 31 RBIs. So once again, not updated up to the minute, but his last 30 games, the man's batting 224. His last 15 games, he's batting 172.
Yep.
And in his last 7, he's batting 111. You can divide his weight in half or you can multiply 111 by 2 and not get his weight still.
Boy, both our math. See, you qualify as a podcaster as well.
Oh, that's racist. Put him on rocks.
No, I'm just saying our math sucks tonight.
Yes.
But no, you're absolutely correct. I mean, the way Renfro's been swinging too. I mean, you got 2 easy outs it seems in that lineup, and for a while there was Ward, but at least Ward's starting to loosen up a bit, not having that flat swing. But I'm seeing the same kind of swings from both of these hitters up until tonight with Renfro's homer. They've been automatic outs, and Renfro's a guy too that maybe Trout thinks he's Renfro, where he can be ice cold and then just come alive. Because throughout Renfro's career, I'm sure you saw a lot of it with your dad being a Padres fan and being in San Diego. Renfro's career early on, he was the same kind of hitter. I mean, one month he'd blow it open. You're like, man, this guy could be an all-star. Because I was thinking, man, this guy could hit like 40 home runs for us this year, the way he started in April. And has he cooled off.
Well, I mean, let's get one thing straight. Hunter Renfroe is significantly closer and on pace right now to be the kind of player that he is compared to Trout. Trout, batting 255 is concerning because he's a 290 to 310 hitter.
Mm-hmm.
He's a 40 to 50 home run kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter Renfroe is going to get you anywhere from 20 to 30 home runs. And he's going to be somewhere in the 250 to 255 ballpark. So he's still in range of doing that. He just hit his 12th homer. So, he's going to be close to where he should be come the end of the season. And I might be eating crow for this, but where we currently stand, I wouldn't be upset if I woke up in the morning and heard that the Angels signed Renfroe to a 3-year, $45 million contract. Okay. I think he's like a $15 million a year kind of guy. He'll give you that kind of production. And I'm not upset about paying, $15 million for a guy who's going to hit, 30 bombs. Is going to get you about 90 RBIs.
That's actually a steal. I like that. If they were to sign him for under 50 mil, 3 years, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, but with the way baseball's trending, he's going to get like $165 million. That's just how baseball's going. So.
Well, one guy I wanted to ask you about, or actually 2, because it came up a lot on the post game last night, and that is the problem we thought we were going to have with pitching, or not pitching, catching. And gnarly. Theis and Wallach have been coming through. 3rd pinch hit home run for Wallach. And a guy like, Theis, again, the other night, he was again 2 for 2 with a couple walks. I mean, how impressed are you with Theis and Wallach, man? Just being so good when we thought we were kind of royally screwed there for a minute.
Yeah, they've stepped up. All you ever want out of a team that's supposed to contend is to have that next man up mentality. And both of these guys seemingly have that. With that being said, I think that one of these guys should probably get traded at the deadline. And before people freak out and call me stupid, Chad Wallach's trade value is as high as it's ever going to get right now. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Matt Theis. So you need to take a long look in the mirror and say, do we need both of these guys right now? Or can we use one of these guys to help us get a piece we do need? Maybe another starter. Maybe a man in the back end of the bullpen. And obviously, you're probably going to have to pair these guys with somebody else. I don't think Chad Wallach can get your Marcus Semien. But, Chad Wallach can be part of a package that might be able to get you a guy like a Marcus Semien, like an Aroldis Chapman, something like that. So, because what's going to happen when O'Hoppe does return?
Yeah.
And that might not be this year. You're taking that risk. But like I said, when he does come, do you need Wallach, Matt Theis, Max Stassi, who's still going to be on contract for $5 million? And O'Hoppe? That's just a lot of guys.
It is true. And a lot of catchers, a plethora of catchers, because we're not used to that. But I think it's safe to say, though, we won't have Stassi the rest of the year. He's on the 60-day disabled list, or IL.
Yeah, but, Which makes me wonder. Well, no, he is on the IL. Because I was going to say, so he's getting paid. Does this count against his service time? But it must, because he is getting paid. He's not. He didn't take a leave or anything like that.
Nope. No, he didn't.
I
So
don't know, man. You got to do a lot right in your life to get paid. What, $5 million? I think he's making to not play or, in from what I know, be present even.
yeah, I haven't seen a dude since what, spring training?
Did he play in spring training? I don't remember. I'm not
I
going to make a comment on something I don't know.
well, I don't think he played in spring training, but I mean like he was on, I remember seeing him walking in like with the other players.
Okay.
Yeah, but I know he wasn't eligible to play. But
Oh yeah, so there you go. But like I said, do we really need that many catchers? I mean, if you're honest with yourself, you understand what I'm saying, right? You have to take a long, hard look at maybe trading one of those guys at the deadline. Everyone needs catching all the time.
that's true.
You know,
I mean,
you pick and choose.
if Wallach is in there for a good need for somebody else, because the way I see it right now, they're complementing each other so good. You
Yeah.
know, so I don't know. I mean, unless you got a backup plan, like if Cuero, you want to take a shot at him. I know he's very, very young.
And that was the other thing I was going to say. You have him in the wings, what, 2 years, he'll be ready.
Yeah, that dude's blowing through the minors right now. They were saying that he could possibly be a what is it called, a September call up. So who knows, man?
Yeah, I mean, could very well be a Zach Neto type guy. I mean, say what you want about Perry and the team he's built over the years, but Perry obviously knows how to draft guys. And I know Edgar Cuero was an international signing, but knowing what Perry's done with the scouting side of the organization in terms of draft picks, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt right now for international signings. So hopefully him and his boys have the same kind of eye for international signings as they do for drafts, because man, these draft picks that Perry's made, a lot of them have already started to pan out. And a lot of the others who haven't gone to the majors yet are flourishing in the minors.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just, we talked about the other night how they ranked the Angels farm system so low, yet again, like the Dodgers, they have one of the best minor league systems. It seems like, with the exception of like I think one or two position players, everyone they pulled up besides that, and the guys for the bullpen, the starters, because they've had a hell of a lot of injuries, they've not panned out. They're all sporting like 7.80 ERAs, whereas the Angels pull these guys up and just one right after another, they're putting up zeros.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the Angels minor league system isn't highly ranked and highly touted around the league, but I'm encouraged with what we've seen so far.
Me too, because there are diamonds in the rough that have come up. There's also been good signings by him.
Yep.
Webb and also Davinsky. So there's a lot to be happy about. What do you want to move on to next, my man?
Let's talk about the Mariners series, right? Because we talked about the Cup series, right? Did we?
Yes, we did talk about the Cup series.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's talk about the Seattle Mariners series. So let's start off with the day on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
That was the day we did the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
For starters, thank you for everyone who tuned in. That was a lot of fun to do. I remember like getting off that night and like being legitimately sad that it was over. That was like the most fun I've had watching a game from home, my hotel room.
Yeah.
In a long time.
That was a lot of fun.
And it was a good game.
Oh yeah, it was much. We kept saying how it was not like the one from before, the first one with Houston. so this one was really fun from start to finish. Just a lot of drama. And then like I said, when I told you the next day, I listened to it on my phone with my phone in my pocket, obviously at work, and not getting the visual, but listening to how we called the game. I mean, it was pretty cool to hear our reactions, and when a play would take place, something big was awesome. I thought the comments were great. Everything was nice.
Yeah, and it was also really nice to hear from people saying like, wow, like you guys actually provided coverage that they didn't even do on Apple TV. How we were able to break down Estevez and his performance. We were able to talk about that play where Neto threw the ball to third because he wasn't going to make that throw to first. Like multiple people were telling us like, oh, dude, they didn't even talk about that on Apple TV, but you guys did. Like, I like listening to you guys. And it's unfair, right? Because we have a bias towards the Angels. So naturally, we're going to cover things like that. Apple TV has to be unbiased. They never are, but their job is to be.
Yeah. Well, at least on paper it's supposed to be, but it didn't
Yeah,
turn
yeah,
out that way.
exactly.
But we had a good time. But yeah, that Seattle game was a really good matchup. It was Otani versus Castillo, a guy that Angel fans, including ourselves, wanted when he was still being dangled out there by the Reds.
Yep.
Dipoto beat us to him, but he had owned us. The previous 2-3 starts. And Otani had been kind of struggling, and it looked like, oh man, we're going to be calling another blowout the way it started. But
Uh-huh.
boy, he settled in, and the game just got really intense as it went on, right?
Yeah, Otani gave up 3 earned runs, which is, in fairness, less than he has lately.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely a couple of sirens going off in my head about Shohei Otani. You'd like to think that he's going to turn the corner as a pitcher. He has as a hitter. He's officially hot as a hitter. But yeah, Otani on the pitching side, I'd like to see a little more out of him. But time will tell.
Yeah, and he battled through a few first couple of innings right there. The Mariners with Castillo, he was doing his thing. It looked like, boy, we were going to be shut down there for a while, but he kept us in it, and we were able to tie the game and really start to put the pressure on the Mariners, even grabbing the lead. A couple good defensive plays. I mean, the place was rocking there.
Yeah, yeah, and that's one thing you alluded to was the fact that Otani was able to settle in after the first inning. And you're right. One of the most important things as a pitcher is, can you recover after mistakes? And he did. So I will say that. Logan Webb did a stellar job after the injury to Ben Joyce. Thankfully, he doesn't have any damage to his arm. It was, just some kind of weird, what was it, thing with his nervous
Yeah, he
system.
just
I don't
couldn't
know.
really feel the tips of his fingers there for a minute.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a circulation thing. I'm not a
Yeah,
doctor.
could be.
Sam Bachman continued to look good. He's looked really good since his initial appearance.
Correct.
He's looks like he's gotten his command in there, so he was able to hold the lead. And then Estevez continues to be that guy, man. He has been a godsend for this Angels bullpen.
Mhm.
Dare I say, maybe Quijada getting hurt wasn't a bad thing because it forced Phil Nevin to give Estevez the keys to the kingdom. And I don't think he would have done that if Quijada was still involved. No disrespect to Quijada. He's a good pitcher too, and he can throw hard for a lefty. But Estevez just needs the keys to the kingdom right now. He's earned it.
Estevez right now has 15 saves currently, right?
I don't think so, man. That was his 17 save that day, I think.
Well, if he's like, say for instance, he's around 23 to 25 by the All-Star break, and maybe he's 25 out of 26 or 24 out of 25. Do you give him that All-Star nod?
Yeah, I think he deserves it. Luckily, fans don't vote pitchers in.
Mm-hmm.
Because our pitchers will probably never get in. That's the case. But he deserves it, man. He's looked great. He is absolutely stellar right now. Yeah, he's got 17 saves.
Okay, 17. Yeah. So because I've always noticed that when they add guys that are closers to a bullpen in the All-Star game, they got to at least have 20 or 23 to get in. They never let a guy as dominant as he is 15 for 15. So if something like that were to happen, I like his chances for getting in because he, like you said, he's been a godsend. I mean, Davinsky, the other guys who have been helping them set up, and we haven't even seen Moore yet. And Moore, I don't know if you have an update on that, but Moore he's close, right, to returning?
Yeah, so he's already throwing. He's progressing, I think, pretty soon here to throwing off a mound. So my guess is, if all goes well, bearing any kind of setbacks, he should be back in the next week. Is my personal opinion. But yeah, time will tell.
Yeah, that was by the way, Moniak's big 2-run home run. I think that was probably the most excited we've been on a page since Heaney was traded on the trade deadline a couple years ago.
We were lit, man. It was like we won the lottery that day.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, Todd. Yes. Yeah, that was good.
That was a lot of fun. But yeah, we got pretty excited on that one. All three of us knew it when it went off his at bat, and he got that revenge on Castillo. Yep. And yeah, I mean, the Angels closed it out. It was a beautiful win.
Yeah, absolutely. So Saturday's game, Patrick Sandoval.
Yeah.
Let's talk about him. He's struggling. He is not looking like the Patrick Sandoval of the World Baseball Classic or even last year. 3-6 now, 5 innings pitched, gave up 10 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned, struck out 8, and his season ERA is now 4.52. Are you worried?
Yes, I am very worried about him because this is his 5th straight loss. I think me and you, when we talked on a podcast right after he won his 3rd game of the year, and we were thinking, okay, 3-1, he's got about a 2.45 ERA. He's not dominating, but he's getting the job done. And see, even with a loss like this, he still had 8 strikeouts. But it's like, man, you're putting the ball, you're not finishing hitters. You know, he's leaving those 0-2 because, like Gubas always says, oh man, there's another 0-2 pitch too high and in the zone, and guys are you know, they're extending innings and with 2 outs, it's hurting the Angels. And he was the king at doing that so far, and still is. And it's been tough to watch because this isn't, like you said, the World Baseball Classic Sandoval. You know, this is even close to what he was doing last year. And we need him to be that power 2 guy. And 5 in a row, man, I'm very anxious to see what he does in his next start here in Kansas City.
I want to give Patrick Sandoval the benefit of the doubt because he's been burned by this team more often than not, in the sense of he's been a overall good pitcher in his career and at times great. Right now, he's just in a bit of a funk. And I think one of the biggest reasons is because he feels like he needs to do everything right now. He feels like he needs to get that 3rd strike because I don't think he trusts the defense behind him fully.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the benefit of the shift like last year. You're absolutely correct. Just, I wish he would pitch with more confidence, and because it does suck to see a guy like Tyler Anderson labor and get a lot of run support, and then
all the time.
yeah. And me and you were at the game against Miami. It's like 2-0, and you know, he did pitch pretty decent. That's probably one of his best starts out of the 5 that he's lost.
Yeah, I don't blame him for that loss.
Yeah, he just got no run support in that game.
We lost what, 2-0 that day?
2-0, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can't blame him for that. Anytime your starting pitcher can give up less than 3 runs, they put their team in a position to win, in my opinion. Now, 3 runs, like anything over like 5 innings. I know 5 innings isn't a quality start. It's 6, but I mean, still.
It's a quality start for us.
Yeah, it's good enough for the Angels. Aaron Loop did not have a bad game that time. It was the final game where it was the first game against Texas where Loop actually gave up a run. But he, up to that point, hadn't been pitching horribly. Yeah. I was starting to maybe have a little more faith in him. Not a lot, but just a little bit more. Gerardo Reyes came up for a quick sip of coffee, went back down, kind of like Grandpa Simpson in The Simpsons, where he comes in, puts his head on the rack, walks back.
See, that's what you should have did when he was sent down. You should be like, hey, he's called up, and then show him walking out.
Yeah, 100% Reyes right there. And then your boy, Tucker Davidson. 2 innings pitched, did not give up any runs. His season ERA is now 6.48. That guy is like the best way to describe him is like a friends with benefits. He's just kind of there. You go in there, you get the deed done with your friend. You know.
You're all, what's up, man?
You don't talk to her or him, I guess, whatever side of the fence you're on. You don't talk to them again for like 2 weeks, and then you're like, hey, you up? Like, that's kind of like Tucker Davidson. He comes in like, hey, you're not doing anything. Come on over.
Yeah, I'm feeling horny. Come over here.
I mean, I was trying to avoid said terms, but yes, okay. Exactly. I mean, yeah, so Tucker Davidson's just kind of there at this point. Doesn't really pitch often, you know. Just kind of send him the winky face text, and he knows what's up.
Yeah, it's sort of like one of those things where you see him warming in the pen. You're all, oh, we still got that guy. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that one was an ugly one on Saturday. You know, I'm glad
I was going to make a Magic Johnson joke, but
go for it, man.
No, I'll make it off air.
All right. So anyway, with that being said, that was an ugly loss, 6-2, correct? Wasn't it, against Seattle?
Yes.
Yeah, very meh on the offensive side. Didn't get nothing done. Made Wu, a spot starter, look very good, and that's been a problem. Sandoval just didn't have it. Was in and out of trouble for the first 4 innings, before they got to him pretty good there. So
Was Wu the guy I watched in Texas like the week before? I think it was, right?
yeah, the one that got lit up for
Yeah, by the Rangers.
yeah, 7 runs in 2 innings or something. So I was expecting the Angels at least to tap 4 on him, but they
No,
didn't.
you should have known. It's kind of like a number 9 hitter batting a $125. This guy's hitting for the cycle.
Yeah, right. Jeez. And then what was shocking was Sunday, you know, because we heard that there was going to be another rookie going for the Mariners, but then they bumped him out for Gilbert, another guy who usually pitches really good against the Angels.
But not this time.
Nope.
But let's talk about Griffin Canning real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 7 Ks. He did give up 2 homers, so, you know, got bit by the gopher ball a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
His season ERA is now 4.56, though. I'll take this kind of start from Griffin Canning. I don't think he's going to have the start that he had, 3 starts ago where he went like 8 innings or something like that, 7 innings?
Yeah, that was an aberration, but he's good for 5 to 6, and I think that's all you needed from him. He just continues to have that one bad inning. And once he gets through that one bad inning, he seems to settle down. Either, you know, so he did pretty good in this game, and he gave every opportunity for the Angels to keep the lead, and they did. And they piled on runs. They had add-on runs. So I was kind of impressed. You know, that was a nice way to end the homestand.
Yeah, let's talk about the kid who just hit the weight room, Zach Neto. 2 homers in one game, man. Love to see it out of the guy. You know, he got his average up to that point to 253. I don't mind seeing that out of a rookie. I mean, you know, a rookie who's batting 253 who was literally in college a year ago, that's like an anomaly at that point. That's crazy. That's insane.
Yeah, I'm very impressed by him. He's a really good focused hitter. We knew that talking to him that he had that it factor. You know, he has that moxie. I keep thinking this guy's going to be a freaking captain of this team and a leader in the clubhouse at some point. He's got it all, and his defense speaks for itself. But he's just got everything we wanted in a shortstop and much more. And this guy is only 22 years old. So he had a hell of a game. 2 home runs. He was constantly on base. So it was awesome. It was awesome to see.
Yeah, he has been one of the best and most pleasant surprises this season. And yeah, I give this kid a lot of credit, man. I mean, to be able to do what he's doing at the age he's doing when the expectations were not nearly this high, that's awesome. And, you know, before anyone's like, well, it's so early on, like we've seen him struggle for a little bit and now he's gotten out of it. You know, we saw him struggle for a week and he figured it out again. And that's what you want to see out of a young guy. Can they get knocked down and get right back up? Because a lot of the times they get knocked down and they turn into squid and they stay down. And it's kind of like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, where he's like laying face down in a puddle.
Yeah,
that's what Squiddy Poo did.
See, I had a '90s reference, but I thought twice of it. Now I'm gonna say it anyway because when you said you get knocked down, you get up again. I was gonna say Chumbawamba song.
No,
you don't remember? Oh, come on! You don't know that one? All right, whatever. Like
no,
two people listening will be like, "Oh, there it is." I got.
Yeah, I think like only like what was it, like 12% of our audience is like over the age of 40. So most of them are like in their 20s.
20s or younger. Yeah, that's my bad.
Or some 30s. Yeah, exactly. You got some like somehow we got some like 8-year-olds who watch the show according to the statistics, and I'm like, I don't know if that's okay.
Yeah, they should be. Those are probably Hunter's friends.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Hi, Hunter's friends. We love Hunter. Big fan of his. He needs to come back on the show.
Yeah, I need to get him on the show soon here.
Yeah, stat. So Matt Thaiss, he had 2 hits this game, but he is starting to come down to earth a little bit. He's now batting 275. So hey, once again, I mean, I'll take that out of Matt Thaiss. Brandon Drury continues to stay hot. He's been another good surprise because he was struggling for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see who else in this game. Rengifo went over. You know me, I was never sold on Rengifo. You were a Rengifo cat. I was not.
Yep.
That's all I have for the Angels. Let me see. Davinsky continued to look good. His season ERA is now 2.01. So, and Soriano, let's talk about him for a second. 2 innings. His ERA is still a dazzling 0.0. I love this guy's moxie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he seems to have Neto's like it factor too. He's out there not scared, just going in balls deep. He doesn't care. And, he's throwing his best pitches and he's got total confidence and it seems like control of his pitching. So
Yep.
I'm excited to see this kid, another one of these Perry guys.
Yeah, balls and John Stamos.
Exactly.
But yeah, Soriano.
Speaking of which, did you hear this latest one?
John Stamos choked on me.
Oh no, no, I have not. I missed the last like 2 shows.
What about this one?
And of course, I was pretty cocky when I wanted to get that over with, sit down and be on with. But now that it's actually on my body and it's running up my butt right now, I kind of like guy John Stamos.
You pay him to do a cameo? Jeez. Sorry, I can't endorse other podcasts. Only AM 830.
He's got this one too.
The best looking guy to ever walk the face of the earth. John Stamos.
I mean, I don't know if you can really debate that though.
Yeah.
I'm a secure enough man to be like, you know what? John Stamos is a handsome man.
Exactly.
Oh, our boy Soriano came in to pitch right now.
Nice.
And Aaron Loop, I don't think gave up any runs.
Yeah, that's a positive right there. Although Jury struck out with the bases loaded, that would have been Trout's spot.
Par for the course.
Yeah, nothing really changed then.
Maybe it's the 3rd spot.
Maybe
it's cursed.
That could be.
Call Squiddy Poo up, put him at 3rd.
Oh God!
I mean, nobody's gonna score anyway.
Someone sent me a link that Squiddy Poo's got something like a 20 game on base streak or something like that.
Oh, that was me. He apparently has the longest minor league record for the most longest amount of games on base in a row.
Wow.
Like something insane. I was like, okay. Oh, I was like, okay, that's a fun fact.
You would have never guessed him. I wouldn't have. But
yeah, I haven't really looked at his minor league numbers, but I would not put it past him to think that he's a 4A kind of guy.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever see him up here again. At least I hope not.
We will for sure at some point. Hopefully it's not with the Angels, though. Hopefully it's with the A's. And I say that, if he goes to Oakland, he's going to be like a perennial MVP every year. Guys batting like 357.
Yeah, or he'll hit a walk-off continually against the Angels, one of the two.
Yeah, every time. Jimmy Herget, the human glitch, also pitched this game and did well. 1 inning, didn't give up anything. Clean inning.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Herget, do you see an avenue where he's with the Angels long term out of the bullpen, or do you think he's just kind of going to be a 4A guy?
I think as far as now, he's going to wind up turning into one because of the depth on the team. I think last year he shined, and for whatever reason this year he hasn't put it together or been given the opportunities that these other pitchers have gotten. But you got to look at the guys that have been replacing him. It seems like the more times he gets sent down, he gets called, it's for someone really, really good or a young kid. And then, they're outshining him. So they bring, they have an injury, they bring him up, and then they have to send him right back down for another kid. It's like, man, we're talking about an opportunity here. I mean, most likely when Moore comes up, they're going to send Herget back down. Any of these other pitchers like Wantz is down there. If they want to add more guys, then maybe Tucker goes. So, I mean, you're really not seeing those bad bullpen pieces outside of Loop. And even Loop has looked halfway decent the last few outings.
I know we're going to talk about it right now when we talk about the very last Rangers game where he finally gave up a run, but he had a pretty good little stretch there where he was okay.
Mm-hmm.
But this Angels bullpen out of nowhere kind of got it together. And it's with the guys who you think would have been unlikely, right? I mean, nobody thought that, Soriano would come up immediately and take the world by storm. We were kind of hoping that would happen out of Ben Joyce, but not only, were people talking the talk for him, but he decided to walk the walk. Davinsky, good. There's a lot of these guys who are stepping up, and that's what the Angels needed.
Yeah, you even have guys like Weiss. Weiss came in there. He wasn't exactly electric, but he had good stuff. He gave up a run here, a run there, but it wasn't like devastating. So it's like, well, we know we got a guy like Wantz. We know we got Weiss and others. That's why, this might be the last call up for Herget, because you got other pitchers that are still knocking on the door we haven't seen. A couple of these other ones that have been down for injury or down to bring up these other young kids. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy to see how far the bullpen has come, like from what we thought it was a disaster in April.
Yeah, I'd still maybe like one more piece added to maybe provide a little bit of stability, but I like where we currently are.
Yeah, me too.
So let's now talk about what I asked for the question of the day if this was the game of the year. So the first game in Texas, the Angels finally won an extra inning contest. They won 9-6, and they won it against a first place team. You can continue to say what you want about the Rangers and they're going to drop off one day, but this is a team that has already won 40 games.
Mm-hmm.
And they have one of the highest run differentials in all of baseball.
Yep.
I personally believe that the Rangers are a legitimate threat. I think we've crossed that threshold where you need to start looking at them as a potential playoff team. This goes from, we always thought this was going to be a 3-horse race in the division. We thought Seattle was going to be one of those teams. I don't think they're for real. So I think it's going to be the Rangers, the Astros, and then potentially us. So the Angels are able to squeak it out.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Anderson did enough to give the Angels a chance to win, ? 6 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. His season ERA is now a wonderful 5.8.
Yeah, I mean, that was one that surprised the crap out of me that he went 6.
Yeah,
and that just, in a place like Texas, because that ballpark at times you hit a lazy fly ball. It's sort of like, Yankee Stadium, you can hit one out. Like I want to go there in August and catch what that stadium's really about when I go with you out there. And, because this was a fun game. I think that question was great. Even Carlos Estevez liked it. It was
Let's throw that in there.
Yeah, I had to throw it in there. That's some clout right there. When our closer says, "Hell yeah, good game," like he agrees. So that was really, really exciting because even with how you said it, we're expecting a loss when we go to extra innings because of how we play in extra innings, and the fact that the bullpen was nails late in the game, and you had Ohtani's home run to save it. Wallach comes up there with a pinch hit home run. And you had all the other big plays, Neto making that play at short, and freaking Ward at first base, scooping one like Mark Teixeira used to do, and Neto making that catch in left field like he's making one in outfield, or third base side, like he would in outfield. I mean, there was just so much to take out of that game. It was so good, very intense game. It was almost one of those where you were sad to see it over.
Yeah, I mean, and luckily the Angels were on the right side of the fence here because this game could have easily gone the opposite direction where we're sitting there giving out nacho nights to the entire team and to Phil Nevin, and you're on here, on the post game spewing. But you know what? Could this be considered an ugly win? Perhaps. But this is one of those wins that changes the course of your season. Mm-hmm. Because if you lose this game, this is one of the ones that really weighs you down. But the fact that the Angels were able to squeak it out, especially behind such a dominant Ohtani performance with the bat, this is a feel-good win for this team.
Yeah, it was. I mean, again, both those home runs were we've always talked about it. If he's able to spray the ball, all over the field, Ohtani's right. He's not having those swings, at least in the last 3-4 games, where his helmet was, flying around and stuff. He had a tremendous bomb to left center, and then the winning home run was left field down the line. And so he didn't have to pull the ball. He's just making contact and solid contact. So that was really good to see. Just defensively, I've just been impressed by this team playing so much better. I think they showed a stat in tonight's game where the Angels were, I think, minus 29 in errors and stuff like that, differential, and they improved to 12, and I think they're something like plus 24 this year. So they're doing much, much better defensively, and it's really good to see. And again, like, they had to come up with some really good defensive plays to hold Texas, especially from the 8th, 9th to the 11th, basically, or actually to the 12th when Lube had to come in. But there was some, Estevez pitching really great. Bachman was legit on fire, 2 innings pitched. So, I mean, it was just a really, really nice game.
Yeah, and the bullpen did really well too in this game. Like you said, I mean, the bullpen's been a pleasant surprise. Mm-hmm. Davinsky, Webb, Estevez, Bachman. The lone blemish out of the bullpen was Aaron Loup. And I mean, I'll take the fact that actually wasn't even an earned run.
Well, I'll give it to Loop in a sense because he had to strike out the last two batters, and whether or not he put guys on base, they had was it first and second, Simeon up there, and he struck him out and struck out the batter before him, and I thought that was great pitching. I mean, again, it was one of those where he's ahead in the count, and he kept the ball down on a slider and got them to whiff at the same pitch. Whereas earlier in the season, he was throwing those out and over the plate, and they were getting tattooed.
Yeah. Well, that game, when was it that he pitched? It was in Anaheim, right? Where like Mike Trout saved his ass.
Yes.
He had like two balls that were like they were like almost warning track shots.
Yeah, I think Trout had to really get on his high horse to catch one of them. So,
yeah, poor Trout.
Yeah,
but you know what? Like, if this is the version of Aaron Loop that we're gonna get, where like every 5 appearances he gives up 1 run, I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, man, I hate to just keep on reiterating what I said, but I really am super impressed where this bullpen is. You know, I hope that they can continue to stay good. I hope they can continue to save this team, because that's what the Angels have been lacking, especially because the starting pitching is still a bit of a concern right now.
Mm-hmm.
At least now we're not dealing with pitching in general. Now it's just the starting rotation. You know, I still believe that a guy like Sandoval can figure it out. I still believe that a guy like Reed Detmers has the stuff. And same with Ohtani. He's not doing that great right now. Literally, the best guy has been Jaime Barria. And Jaime Barria, even today, I don't think pitched amazingly. I'm pulling up how he did. Give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's out of the game now.
Yeah, it's definitely a bullpen game as they head to the bottom of the 8th.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the Rangers numbers. Barria, 4.1 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. So, you know, not incredible.
But he's given us.
I'll give him a pass.
Yeah, because the last 3 starts, it was 15 innings, only 1 earned run. So, not bad.
He's been doing great, man. He stepped up when the team has needed him for spot starts, out of the bullpen. Jaime's a guy who's always gotten an unfair shake in his organization. He's a gamer. He continuously steps up. You know, he's a homegrown guy. What more do you want?
Yeah, he's not a guy that complains either. He always, if you look at him, always a smile on his face, always joshing with the guys. So it's like that's the kind of player you root for. You know, sort of an unsung hero. He's not going to get the press. He's not going to get the pub, but he's definitely earned his weight in gold right now. Now, I have a question for you, though.
Yes.
We're 68 games into the season currently. This is game 69 right now. It's on the line, though. Angels.
Giggity.
Yeah, exactly. Grill Masters. We're in the bottom of the 8th. The Angels are up 1. Now, if I were to tell you that the Angels are going to be 37-31 like they are now, what place would you have put them in the beginning of the season? And did you expect them to be better than 37-31 or worse? 2-part question.
Okay. 37-31, I would have said they're probably in second place behind Houston. I would have said they're probably like 2 games in front of Seattle because we thought Seattle was going to be average.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would have said Texas was going to be number 4, but I would have thought Texas would have been like 500-ish also. I thought we were going to have a good division. I thought everyone minus the Athletics were going to have a good season. I in no way predicted that Texas would be in first place. I in no way predicted they'd be one of baseball's best teams. But I think 37-31 is right around where I would have hoped the Angels would have been at this point.
Okay.
You know, we knew that they weren't going to set the world on fire. We knew there was going to be some struggles. What I didn't expect was that the starting rotation was going to be as bad as it has been. And the other thing is also that the offense would be as cold as it is on some of these days. There is some days where this offense can't hit water if they fell off a boat.
Yep.
There's some days where it feels like it's like 1 or 2 of the guys in our lineup versus the team's entire lineup. You know, it'll be like one guy's hot. It'll be like Ohtani's hot and Brandon Drury's hot. Everyone else can't, you know, if they aimed at our players' heads, like it wouldn't even hit them because they're not making contact with anything. You know, they're purposely aiming at our guys and they can't even get on base by hit by pitch, except for Neto, of course, because, you know, that guy unfortunately got hit all the time to start his career.
He's probably born and hit by a pitch.
Yeah, the poor guy. They like delivered it out of his mom, and he like got immediately drilled by a baseball. Oh my God!
Where did that come from?
Yeah, right. Where'd that bone come from?
Take first base, Neto.
Yeah, right.
Crawls with the umbilical cord to first.
That hit by pitch is brought to you by Memorial Healthcare.
But yeah, I mean, look, I think that's a good assessment. I think I'm right there with you. I did not expect Texas to be where they're at.
You still don't.
Yeah, I don't. And Seattle's been the biggest disappointment. I think I picked in the preseason Oakland to win only 47 games, and before they got that win streak, I'm all, damn, they might not even get that. But
I do want to talk Oakland before we close it out. I want to talk about their situation, but
sure,
go ahead.
Sure. And then as far as I'm right there with you. I mean, sometimes depending on even who they have out there, whether it looks like our best lineup or not, it reminds me a lot of last year where we didn't have the names or nothing. It was probably like 2 or 3 players that would do something during the game, like you said, and then the rest of the team was just quiet the whole night. You'd go 4 or 5 innings without a hit, and the Angels with this lineup have been doing that sometimes, especially last month. So yeah, it's very frustrating because you look at it, you're like, man, if the starting pitching, like you said, is just a little bit better, we're a little bit consistent more on hitting, we could be damn near sitting there too with like 41, 42 wins.
Why can't our Angels ever have everything just click?
I don't know.
For just a month. Baseball is such a streaky sport where all you need is to have your team click for a month. And a lot of the times that's good enough. Mm-hmm. It's one solid month that propels you to the playoffs. Even if that month is early on, Texas is in a position right now where they were struggling for a week or something, and Houston was catching up, but they had such a healthy lead that it didn't matter. Or Houston was one of the hottest teams in baseball for a week and a half, but Texas was right behind them. They only lost 2 more games.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. You got to start taking these guys seriously. You really do. But the good news, even if the Angels turn out to lose game 2, it's currently the bottom of the 8th inning. The Angels are up 4-3. They're showing that they're capable of hanging with these good teams.
Yep.
They're not getting blown out. They're not getting their cheek clapped. It was the same thing against Houston. We lost, we only won 1 out of the 4 games, but they were all relatively close games.
Yeah, they were all games that it could have turned the tide easily. One play here, one play there. So I currently like where we're at. Season high 6 games over. If we're able to win tonight, I mean, you're talking 4.5 out only.
Yeah, and then we're having a much, much different conversation.
Correct.
Because there was a time where after that the Orioles series, after the Astros series, you were playing Titanic music.
Yeah. I was like, man, Fernando, James, Randy, don't leave me here, man. I'm still playing my music. You guys
are sad as violent.
We were playing as we were sinking in the water. That was for sure. But
yeah.
But no, I like our chances moving forward. I mean, like we've talked about, we've got some winnable games. I don't like looking ahead and predicting, but it's just, you can't help but look who's on your schedule. I take one game at a time, but the future games you got though, after this series obviously drops off with only the Dodgers, and then they're not exactly the hottest team in the league right now. And you got Colorado, the White Sox, the Royals, some real good chances for the Angels to put pressure on Houston and Texas.
Yeah, let's talk about Wednesday's game. So the day you guys are listening to this, it's going to be Reed Detmers, who's 1-5 with the 4.79 ERA. He finally got the monkey off his back, got his first win of the season.
Correct.
Against Todd's favorite, Andrew Heaney, who is 4-4 with a 4.14 ERA and 65 Ks. Do you like our chances in that game? I don't. I think Andrew Heaney's going to somehow freaking just destroy us. It's going to be a former Angel coming to haunt us.
You know what, dude? I know you're taking that sense, and you have all the reason to, because that's usually what happens. But I have to squeeze my inner.
Oh, no. Oh, there it is. Show me your honks.
I'm showing you. Look. I got the Angels in the other way around. I think they take it to them, dude. I think they do.
Okay. All right. So there you have it. So Todd's predicting a win. So he's officially predicting. Well, we haven't won today.
Yeah.
But okay. Let's talk about Thursday's game. I am super excited for this. I'm surprised that they're not like putting this on prime time. You know, sometimes like in the NFL, like if some teams are sucking, they'll just like randomly be like, "Hey, this team is now playing in prime time," and then you got like the Cleveland Browns. You're like, "What about us?" And they're like, "Tell Deshaun to go get another massage." Anyway, so show. Oh, yeah, too many. That's not a laughing matter. That guy's a bad person.
Sure.
Ohtani, who's 5-2 with a 3.32 ERA. The guy's been struggling, but he has 102 strikeouts versus one of the biggest surprises of this season, Nathan Eovaldi. Honestly, probably the favorite and the front runner right now for Cy Young, in my opinion.
Well, you got McClanahan too. They're right there.
Yeah. It's going to be probably one of those two guys, bearing any injuries.
Yeah.
He's 9-2 with a 2.49 ERA and 83 strikeouts. This has the potential to be one of the best games of the season. If Ohtani is on, which something tells me that he's going to be able to, turn the lights on. The lights won't be too bright. The complete opposite of that Donald Trump TikTok I made. Turn them off. The lights are too bright. The complete opposite of that. I think Ohtani's going to rise to the occasion. I think this has the potential to be one of the biggest games of his career up to this point. Both teams are doing really well. Both teams are trying to prove that, they can hang. And if the Angels are, at least in your opinion, you think that the Angels have a chance to sweep this series with an Ohtani win, I'm guessing. So I think if Ohtani has that ability, man, this is his best opportunity to earn that paycheck early on for some future suitors.
Yeah, I'm right there with you because he's the type of cat that, you need this victory because the last few starts that he's been in, the Angels have gotten, no decisions his starts. So you're gonna need some Ohtani magic. He's been stuck on 5 wins for quite some time now. So if he can come through here and get a big victory against Nathan Eovaldi, I think that could get him back into that playoff mode that he looked like he was in April. He was pitching his ass off. So I'm looking for maybe the same kind of result. I'm thinking Ohtani's going to put up his best pitch performance in quite some time, and he's going to actually contribute with some RBIs because you said it before. I think that he's the type of dude that like he hits better when he's pitching. So maybe this is one where he goes 2 for 3, knocks in a couple runs, helps his own cause, and we get out of there with a 5-1 win.
He has almost hit a cycle like his last, 4 straight pitching appearances.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe today's the day or that day will be the day. So you're predicting a win.
I'm going with a honk again.
You're predicting a series sweep.
If we can hold on tonight, it would be a sweep. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I like I said, I'm hoping for 3 out of 4. I wouldn't have said that if we recorded this before. If we recorded this that Sunday night when I was on, if I would have actually got here, I would have probably thought we were going to win 1 out of the 3. But right now, the Angels have my honks all the way out. Call Victoria's Secrets because my honks are out.
He's got some double D honks.
But there you go. Thank you for the compliment.
Yeah, there you go.
I have double D energy.
But I'll say this though, like when I did the post game on Sunday night.
Hey, that might have been an insult. Now that I think about it, I have man boobs. Anyway.
Now, when I did the post game on Sunday, I was asked what my prediction was for the Texas series, and I'll be honest with you. So right now, if they win tonight and they win the next 2, you're gonna be, oh, you called it. No, I didn't. I called a split. I was hoping for a split, best 3 out of 4. I would have taken a split with this one because this is such a good team. I'm thinking we're just starting to play up to their capabilities. But the fact that if they win tonight and they take care of business tomorrow, man, yeah, we could be looking at a sweep, and then things would get really interesting.
Yeah, I'm certainly not predicting a sweep, but hey, I'll gladly take one if we get one, especially against the first place Texas Rangers.
Absolutely.
All right, so I guess the last thing I have in closing, I don't want to get into this because this is probably the whole episode if we wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
Give me your opinion on the Oakland A's situation. So the state of Nevada approved it, right? Or they approved the funding. So now they have another vote that has to go through. And if that goes through, it goes to the governor. And I think the governor is like a supporter of it already anyway. So we kind of know that if it gets that far, it's a done deal. Assuming the owners are going to okay with it.
Yeah, they have
and
to
let's
vote
be
it.
honest, why on earth would the owners say no to getting Oakland, the A's out of Oakland? Realistically, I don't see why it's going to be better for baseball to have the A's in Las Vegas long term. I know that people in Oakland don't want to hear that, but from a money aspect, I think it's going to be better for the game of baseball to have a team in Oakland. The only reason I can see the owners voting no is if they legitimately believe that the best course of action for Las Vegas is an expansion team.
I happen to agree with that because if you look at how aggressive the state of Nevada and Las Vegas was to get the pro sports teams they have now, it's they know that they're only adding to their monopoly of fun over there in Vegas. So they're going to keep everything in one area. That's what you want. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get state of the art facilities, yada yada yada. So it's very it's very promising for owners to move there. The problem I have with baseball and why this is going to work and why the A's numbers or days are numbered there in Oakland is the fact that a guy like the owner in Cincinnati, I forget his name, and you got all these other owners, they're all got each other's backs because in one form or the other that at one time you're going to need the rest of the owners to be on your side. So don't rock the boat. And I think that's what's going to happen. They're not going to rock the boat. And they're going to say, okay, well, how much does the league recoup on this move? And if it's a solid number and all the owners are getting paid out what they feel they should for the royalties of that team moving from one state to the other, absolutely they'll vote yes. And they'll also just, so be a vote of confidence that, yeah, we got your back. You're in a shitty situation. We're going to move you out of there. It's for the best of baseball. And I think that's what, for the first time, Manfred, in a long time, I'm a traditionalist. I would love for Oakland to stay there in Oakland, but let's face it, it's better off, like you said, for them to be in a place where they're going to get support. I know the Oakland fans are going to die over that because, the report said that they just sold something like 25,000 seats for the next game, and they're all going to be giving out shirts, sell the team. So it's going to be a sea of fans just saying sell the team. So you have that, but what good is that going to do? In the end, it's not up to the fans. Unfortunately, it's up to these owners, whether you think they're greedy or not, but they're going to get what they want. Vegas, an expansion team would have made more sense, but in the end, they're going to get a team much faster if they take the A's off the Oakland hands.
The last thing I'll say about it is the only reason why I can see the owner saying no, besides the expansion possibility, is there might be some anger because Major League Baseball is willing to forego the relocation cost, and maybe there'll be some owners bitter about that.
Yeah, that's what it'll come down to. It always comes down to money.
Yeah, so I could maybe see some situations where there's a lot of owners who are like, wait. So if I want to move my team to whatever, freaking Saskatchewan, I have to pay, millions and millions of dollars, but Oakland gets a free pass. Now, and I obviously I think people also sympathize with Fisher's situation because, like you said, they have each other's backs.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only reason I can see this backfiring on the Athletics. Either way, if the funding officially gets approved and it gets to the governor's office, I don't see any way that this doesn't happen. I think the owners are able to kind of sway the other people. Worst comes to worst, it'll be a 12 angry men situation, but I do think that they get it done.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, sorry, Oakland.
Yeah.
You're a minor league city, and you always will be.
Hey, Reggie Jackson played there once.
Hey, I mean, the A's were good, a long time ago. I mean, never in my lifetime, really, where like they're winning championships. When was their last championship? The 80s?
89, I want to say, against the Giants.
Yeah, I was born in 95. So
yeah, there you go.
Never in my lifetime were they a perennial World Series competitor, but they've always been a good organization. I mean, dare I say, I'd almost rather be in their position because at least they made the playoffs consistently for what, like 3-4 years?
Longer than that. They had some really good runs there when they had those Miguel Tejada, Eric Chavez teams.
I mean, that's like the Moneyball era.
Yeah, routinely good.
So, but I'm talking like recently.
Oh, recently? Yeah. Well, didn't they make it in 19 or no? It was 21?
I think they made it in 19, right? Yeah. Well, 21 did they make it? Because then they tore it down.
Yeah, they tore it down.
They let Semien walk. They traded Chapman. They traded Olsen. They traded Shamanaya.
Yeah, it was 21. They made the postseason too. They made the wild card.
Did they? Okay, yeah. So I mean, people can say what they want. Like, well, our owner doesn't spend money. Yeah, well, the Angels owner does spend money, and he's a dick. Sorry, kids.
Yeah.
Sorry, Hunter. Don't use those words.
Go to bed, Hunter.
Yeah, don't use those words.
He's like, but it's 12 o'clock.
Yeah, it's noon. I'm listening to this in math class.
Yeah, but that's that's all I got. Unless you got anything else, news and notes.
No, that's it, man. They haven't announced anything with the Royals series, but I think we'll be doing probably a podcast in like 2 days anyway. So
yeah, pretty much.
So that's all I got.
All right. Well, that's Halos in the Infield. Another episode here, knocking out the rest of that Seattle series. Talking about that. Talking about the 2 games currently with the Rangers. Hopefully, we'll have more good news on the other side with another podcast coming up here soon. And then we'll be talking about them pesky Royals on the horizon as well.
Oh, the Royals.
Yes. So for Todd Fox and
the Lone Star Halo.
You got. Oh, and also Roger wants to chime in with something real quick.
John Stamos choked on me.
So,
oh no!
Yeah, careful there. Stamos might be sounding like Roger there with a sore throat. But...
yeah, tell him to get some halls.
He also enjoys a lot of this.
Tonight, it's time for you to check out what I want. I want balls and John Stamos.
All right. Calm down, Roger. We'll talk to you guys later.
See you guys.